Sounds good.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to a very early Saturday morning. Hope you all are doing well. Tiger and I have been looking over some items and kind of talking a little bit about the flowing hair, talking about the Stax Bauer items, looking at some of the previous sales for silver gold, and we wanted to come live and kind of just talk with everybody a little bit about what's going on. How you doing, Tiger? What's going on, brother?
Not bad. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for coming up. I appreciate you talking with me ahead of time. What I want to do, and we kind of I showed you some of these items. We kind of broke this out a little bit, but I want to go over some of the things that we're seeing. So, hey, Darren, what's going on? So I'm going to go ahead and why are you up? Well, I'm up because we wanted to talk about these particular elements. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'm going to share them with you. Oh, helps if I put this where it needs to go. Okay, so let's do this. And I'm going to share my screen. All right. So what you're seeing here in front of you is something that is just recently been, hey, what's going on, Joe? How you doing? Has recently been released, and that is that Stax Bowers has been chosen to do the gold privy. What's going on, Great Scott? So we've been looking at the gold privy, but I want to talk about this. Now, we have talked about this a lot, and I've mentioned this a number of different times in my streams. Uh, the high likelihood that Stax Bowers was going to be there. A couple weeks ago, when we talked about it, there was an opening here. So it went from December or from November straight into January. I knew there were gaps here because I knew they had at least one other auction, but they wouldn't release their auction items until they released the official information from the mint. That already happened at the Baltimore show. And so I knew that they were going to put this in, but we weren't confirmed that it was going to be there. I just had a great feeling that this is what was going to be. They did release it, they notified it, and then they brought it out. But this is what I want people to kind of pay attention to. Now, when you look at some of these prices, you're going to see, and this one is a special case. We'll get to this here in just a second. But as I scroll through this, you're going to notice something, and I want to point out lots 1104 and 1105. These two differences. Now, I want you to look at, it's really important when you're looking at these that you're looking at two things. Number one, I want you to look at the general price points right now because a lot of people have just went nuts over the gold privy now, or over the gold flowing hair. Now, Tiger, you and I had talked about this, and what was your general take on the gold privy that was coming out? Or, excuse me, not the privy, the regular gold flowing hair.
It was nice, but it was way too expensive. At least for my sake.
And again, for the common collector, the common person, unless, and we'll get to the caveat here in just a minute because I was just messaging back and forth with Stacking Surfer regarding this, and he was indicating because he purchased one, and I was like, "Is your plan to flip?" He's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not keeping it. I'm planning to flip it." And if that was your plan, that was your goal, then fine, no big deal. But you better do it fast, and it better happen really quickly. And I want to show you why. So I'm going to first look at 11004 and 11005, and I want to break these down for you. So there's something really important I want to look at. So the first thing I want to do is I want you to look at the descriptions. High relief special 230 privy mark, fourth coin struck. Okay. Now I want you to look at this. It says proof 70. Okay. And so when I click on this particular coin, now remember I'm clicking on 1104. So when I click on it, open it up. Come on, open up for me. There we go. You'll see proof 70 decam. Okay. But not all of them are proof 70 decams. And so it's really important that when you're looking at this, again, this one is the third coin struck, and this was a proof 69. So just because you got one of the very, very, very first coins doesn't mean that you're going to be getting a guaranteed proof 70. So if you're even considering remotely considering buying something like this, look very, very carefully at the listings. They're going to tell you whether they're 69 or 70. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit more like you would normally see this. And this is about what you would normally see right here. When you see, it'd be on the right-hand side. So if you have this open in a partial window, you're not going to see that proof 70. So it's important that you have it full window. It's important that whatever way you view this, you're able to see the entire listing and make sure you open it up. Now, I guarantee many of us are not going to be bidding on this simply because of some of the prices. But here again, we look at number 5. It is a proof 70. We open up this particular coin, and I apologize for a little bit of delay. It is marked as proof 70 deep cameo. And you can see here by that reflective field, this is a really, really, really deep, deep proof. Cliff coin of 230 struck. So what they did here is they're not just selling the items that are there, they're actually marking it as such. And when you look at the privy coin, now this is just a showing of this that actually doesn't tell you what coin number it is because every one of these pictures says 230 of 230. But the way that it looks like they do this, and I say that it appears, I haven't been able to see the certificates or validate them, but the way that it looks on here is that the number is going to coincide with the number of coin minted. Unlike early releases, or unlike the first 50,000 or the first 10,000, you never know. They could be the 70th thousand coin struck. It just happens that they were the first 50,000 that were put into that particular label or that particular item. In this case, they're doing something that the Royal Mint did with Stacks and Bowers, which was they're actually labeling it as the 5th coin, the 4th coin, the first coin. The Royal Mint did this first. This isn't some creative thing that the U.S. decided to do. The U.S. Mint didn't get this creative on their own. They took it from the Royal Mint. So it does
Imagine
look
that.
well, I mean, but this is not something that they've done before. So I want to be very clear that this is not the first time this has happened. The Royal Mint did this not too long ago. And so the U.S. Mint's just following suit. So we looked at some of the prices with that. I'll bring that auction up here in a little while and show you some of the prices for that. But again, it does give you the specific PCGS number. They did get all of these done through PCGS. So they all holdered through PCGS in case people were wondering, were they going to be CAC? Were they going to be NGC? All of them have done through PCGS. What do you see the price is? Now remember that the auction isn't until December 12th. It's a Thursday. So you're looking at a current bid right now for one coin of the 230 that are there for $19,000. Now, my initial estimate when we first started these is that they were going to go for more than $25,000. If these price estimates are this early and they're going to get up 19, 20, 21, 22, they could fetch as high as $50,000. But the one that I really wanted to look at, the one I really wanted to take a minute and kind of dig into and kind of get some more information on was the one that's kind of the outlier. It's the one that's kind of, well, it's kind of something that would be different. Oops, sorry, I shared that wrong screen. All right, and that is the very, very, very first one. Now, as you look at this, you're going to see a current bid of $70,000, but there's a reason that this one is going for $70,000. Now, Paula and I had talked about this. We had talked about what the potential for this was going to be. We talked about how it might look. We talked about how it might be put together. And as you look at this, what you're seeing is you are seeing proof 70 decam. Of course, this one would be proof 70. They say it's the very first one struck. Personally, I think that if this would have been a proof 69, they would have traded it out with another coin. That's just me. But being the very first one, it is proof 70. And when you look at the die, the canceled die was the thing that I was really curious about. Again, folks, if you were watching this on the vertical, please double tap your screen. Make sure you're liking that if you haven't already done so. Please do me a favor. So, Joe, yeah, this is one thing that I wanted to show you. So this is the canceled die, and this is how they did this. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this because I want you guys, I want you guys to pay attention to the fact that, and it's very hard to see, and I know that if you're looking at it on the vertical mode, it's going to be difficult to see, but this doesn't look like this X was cut out. It looks like it was pressed into the die. And the reason I say that is because you can still see design elements inside the X. Now, you're saying, well, you know, Frosty, it could be the opportunity for them to have pressed this and, you know, it goes into the metal. These are laser cut. Okay, these are the first laser cut dies. They've talked about this being the first one. So we know that these particular designs were done all through laser. So these haven't gone through the old school minting process. This is not something where they had been pressed and cut into a hub and then pressed into a master die and then pressed into a working hub and then pressed into a working die and then pressed into the coin or the planchet. So again, this whole process is a little bit different now that they have done this, but this has clearly been stamped into that item. It's been pressed into it. It hasn't been cut. So I can't imagine the force, the amount of tonnage that it would take to put a stamp in this like this.
Well, you also have to look at the sides of the X. It's smooth. There's no evidence of any jaggedness. If it was cut, you would have some sort of jaggedness that they'd either have to grind out or whatever, which would change the shape of that X. That's smooth.
Yeah.
So it looks more like a press.
Yeah, it's a great point. So again, this is what the die is going to look like. And again, as we kind of go through these, this is what people are paying. And my estimates, if it sticks where it is right now, the estimates are going to go up. So I initially said this was going to go between 200,000 and 300,000. I'm thinking it could itch upwards of 425,000. Now the reason for this being is this is a one of a kind. This is a one of one. And even though there is a gold flowing hair with privy, there's only one of these that has the canceled die. Now, are they going to do the canceled dies later on? Is that something that they might do in the future? Highly unlikely. Again, I think this is going to be a one of one. Again, this is just the coin itself is fabulous. I'm not knocking the design. I'm not knocking the elements. This lettered edge is amazing. It is representative of the first flowing hair dollar. The design element is the same. They did a really nice job there. And you can see some little artifacting on the side of the coin from when they pressed these in. I think they rolled these in. I don't think they pressed them. I've got to get more information. So I don't think it's a laser cut X on the die. And the reason I don't think it's a laser cut X on the die is because the design element's still in there. I think that they canceled it out through a giant hydraulic press. I don't believe that they laser cut this. If they laser cut that, it would have had a smooth or a corrugated edging, and it doesn't have that. It definitely looks like it's been cut in with a heavy tonnage press. So I don't think it's that. I definitely think that they've used, 400,000 or 500,000 foot-pounds and smashed that bugger in there. At least that's my hypothesis, and we can get back to that image later. Again, it's a fabulous piece, right? And I understand why many people that had the money that wanted to spend the extra bank on this. But here's what I want to show you. Every one of the certificates that you see in this is the same photo. They're all listed at 230 of 230. So you're not going to see 1 of 230. You're not going to see 10 of 230. Every photo associated with the auction is going to show the image 230 of 230 when it comes to the signed signature of Ventress Gibson. Now, she did do something a little bit different in this one. I think this is just an image. I do not think this is how she's going to have signed this. The reason that I say that is because her image was much nicer and cleaner on the other ones. This one looks like it's a photo op piece. So I don't believe that for purposes of counterfeiting, they're actually going to release the actual photos of the signed ones. I think the only people that are going to see these are the people who are either going to be at the auction, look at the auction if they show these during the auction. But I think they're going to have a standard view of these to prevent potential counterfeiting of these. So my personal interpretation. But if you look over on the side and you look at this, you can't see it very well. But in that image, they're just left of Ventress Gibson's. You can see that gold, and you can see the little privy mark because the privy mark is on the certificate. So again, here's the privy mark on the certificate. There's this. Again, they all say 230. This is the exact same thing as we've seen in the flowing air metal. Obviously, they just changed the colors. They changed the image of the coin, but everything else basically remains the same. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to this. Again, I do like the certificate. I'll be honest with you. Tiger, do you like this view? Do you like the certificate on this?
I actually do like the certificate.
I think they did a good job. And again, if you look at the other ones, it does say 230 and the privy mark. It does say what the dimensions are, and it does tell you, I think it says that they were laser cut. Oh, bless you. I don't remember if it says they're laser cut here. I think it's on the press releases where they said they were laser cut. All right. But again, when you're looking at this, for those of you who aren't familiar with a proof cameo or proof deep cameo, this is a gold coin, and the reason that this field here looks black is because it's an extremely high reflective surface. So whenever you look at a really deep cameo piece, you're going to see these really deep reflective fields that make the surface of the coin almost appear black, especially when you have proper lighting. When they're taking photos of this light is going anywhere but straight down. So they probably have a light set 90 degrees to the coin, and as it comes through, it's reflecting through some sort of mirror or something like that. Again, I'll tell you though, I really love this piece. Now, a lot of people don't like the chunky view of the face. They think her eyeballs or whatever. So there's a lot of people.
Exophthalmos.
Say again?
Exophthalmos.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think that they like the way she looks, but I think it's a gorgeous coin. I couldn't wait to see one of these in real person. It would be amazing to see one of these. I haven't had the luck to do that, but I do have a gentleman by the name of Hugh who got to hold one of these and actually sent me a photo of him with him holding it in his hands. I'll bring that up here in just a second. This is the artist representation. This is not a photo. You can tell that from this. You can see that the coin has appeared to be done. You can see the lettered edging, but it's flat here. So this has just been added. So this is just an artist rendering. A lot of people look at this thinking this is what the coin's going to look like. It's not. It's going to look more like this. This is more of the actual photo than this. This is just a rendering of this. So this is the piece that you're going to get. And again, there's the 230 privy mark, and they're all in the PCGS. You'll see the PCGS logo here. You'll see the security seal and the embossment. They also have a little bit different cut edge in the corners of each one of these. Same typical slab. There's going to be slight modifications to it, but generally it's the same slabs that you would see from your normal one. And then here again, the first coin. Now this is the first of 230 struck. Again, I'm going to just take that for whatever they say. Do I necessarily believe that that's exactly what it is? No. mainly because this has to be a Proof 70 coin. I couldn't imagine the first one coming out as a Proof 68 or something like that. I just couldn't imagine them doing that, especially when coins 2 and 3 are both Proof 69s. So I don't see that happening. Um, but again, when you're looking at this is again one of the actual photos. Beautiful piece. And then here's the cancel die. And again, this is a much better representation. So Joe, if you look at this, I want you to look, you can see that piece down here. So why I say if this die is the way that the US Mint indicated these dies were going to be laser cut, then there's no way that the impression would go all the way through. Now, if these had been stamped, so they had been done with hydraulic press and they had been stamped, then there's going to be the metal has going to be pushed all the way through, right? This is the reason why you have nickel-date and you can find the date on a buffalo nickel that's wore through, because whenever you have that pressure on that planchet to turn it into a coin, you're going to have that metal push all the way through. That's why when the acid eats away around it, that date comes back up because it's been pressed into that metal. So I don't think that this would have been pressed in. I think that these were laser cut in, and then again, they used a very high pressure hydraulic stamp X to go ahead and mark these out. Now, they used to mark these canceled dies. If you look at old canceled dies that hadn't been worn off smooth with some sort of rotary tool, they used to cancel these dies with an X. Again, being that this is a highly collector's piece, they would have wanted to leave as much of the design as possible. If they would have taken that out, then there's a very high likelihood that people would not have been happy to have got a very flat surface die. How would they have known that this is one that they used for this? Now it is serialized. You do have the serial numbers, and then you have the markers here. That is those are alignment markers. That tells you where the alignment sits within the die. And then you have the notching on the other side to tell you, again, when you flip this over and you look at the other side, you don't have that. That's because when they align these dies, they only fit in one side. So whether they're the hammer or the anvil die, so these dies are going to have little different elements in there so that they only fit one direction. Again, this has the laser engraved image, the $1. Then you have the serialized number, and then again, the off-center label piece to show that this is where it sits, most likely in the hammer. Most likely this is going to be your anvil die. All right. So that's basically what that looks like. So again, we'll get back out of here. The current bid for this particular one, again, this is a one of one. Not all of them are going to be this way, but this one right now is sitting at $70,000. Around noon today, this was at $50,000. So in just a few hours, that price has gone up 20,000. If we were to go back and look at the rest of these, again, you'll see these bids vary, but we do have our first one nearing $20,000 already. And this is just the privy. There's no special thing about this. Again, as we open this up, takes a second, so give me just a minute. As we open this up, you'll see the exact same photos. Here we see that one that I told you. Once again, standard stock image, 230 of 230. It's going to be the same for every one of these. So just expect that along with the same photos. And again, as you go down, you're going to see these prices and they change a little bit. People looking for very specific numbers. So for instance, if I'm going to come through here and I'm going to look for number 33, I always like 33. So we'll come down here and we'll look and see. There it is. So right now it would be current bid $5,500 for this particular one. There are people who collect numbers and they have their favorite numbers. So if that number happens to be, 1 in 100 or 1 or 200, obviously people are probably going to try and bid on that particular one. 111 is probably going to be a very popular one. 22, 33, 44, 55, the doubles. The only triple obviously is going to be the 111. So I would expect 111 to be a little bit higher. 222 is another one that I expect to be a little bit higher, just because they have those kind of the triplicate numbers. It's kind of the only one in that particular set that'll have that. So I think people will go for that. But ladies and gentlemen, the other day I was very clear about why I didn't think that it was a good idea as a collector or as a stacker to go for this particular coin in the regular gold. And this is exactly why. So there were 1,794 medals that were turned into a privy. And of those 1,794 medals, 230 of them had a certificate. But there are still 1,794 of the medals that have the privy. There were 17,500 total gold coins. And of those, only 230 have the privy. Those 230 are not open basically to the general population. Now, they are, but obviously the general population is not going to spend 5, 10, 20, 25, 50, 80, 100, 200, $300,000 on a coin. Some people have saved and put their money aside hoping that the privy would be put on the other ones, but we hadn't heard anything from the mint. We didn't know what they were going to drop. We already knew that they had told us that Michael, oh, I forgot his name, the guy who created the game, 5th Gen or whatever that was, had already dropped the bomb that they were doing the certificate. So they had already enlightened us on that. So we knew something special was going to come. But it's because of this that I recommended you not buy the gold coin. Now, if you're like Stacking Surfer and you bought this and you want to go ahead and flip it, do it quickly. Because I'm going to tell you right now that that coin is going to get stagnant as hell when these start going up. Because people are going to have an epiphany, and that epiphany is going to be that this coin is no longer very valuable. People are not going to be dropping the $10, $20, $30,000 on the regular gold coin that some people think it's going to reach to. Now I've got some examples pulled up. Tiger, I'd like you to do me a favor. I'm going to have you do a little bit of research with me. And
Right.
so I'm going to be pulling this up. So these are cumulative selves figures. Now I want to talk about some of the numbers in mintages. Now, when we look at numbers in mintages, I want you to keep in mind that the gold privy is 230. It's a very, very small mintage. But I am going to come up here and I'm going to go to cumulative selves figures, and I am going to look here and I'm going to go 2021 type 1 American Gold Eagle. Oh, man, might help if I could spell. What does that come up under? I need to find the gold proof. Give me just a second. I want to find gold AM Eagle new. There we go. Okay. So I want to look at the total sales figure. So we're going to kind of go through here. You see the National Law Enforcement mintage, 3 coin set. So you're looking through some of these. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for the proof ounce coin of the first one. So this is the new one, and they're right here. Okay, so I want to pull this up. 21 EB with a mintage of 4,493. Now, what this is the Type 1 American Gold Eagle. Now, this is the Type 2. You can see where it says new, right? And I want you to look at the mintages. Now, the mintages on these coins, again, this was the very last year, and there were 2 in this. Now, the reason that I utilize this one, a lot of people are like, well, Frosty, don't be dumb. The gold eagles are a dime or a dozen. You can find them anywhere. But the reason these ones are important to various collectors is because they had both Type 1 and Type 2 in the same year. Just like the 1917 um, Standing Liberty Quarter, there's a Type 1 and a Type 2. And it's important that you get both of them, or at least have the Type 1, because they got rid of that design and moved on to a different one. So in this particular case, there were two types. There were the Type 1, the Type 2. They happened in the same year. And when we look at the cumulative sales figure for this particular coin, there's 4,493 of these. Now again, Frosty, I know that this is an AGE. We have a lot of these, but I want to pull up this particular coin. This is the original listing, the United States Mint in 2021, and this coin sold at $3,100. Now, this sold out, obviously, it sold out very, very quickly when they notified people that they were releasing this, but then they had already changed the reverse so that they were going to be releasing another one. They dropped this one. It sold out in minutes, sold out very, very quickly. And so it sold out $3,100. So you think that a gold eagle that was sold out in minutes, that has a limited mintage of under 4,500, would have gone up in price. Well, I want to pull this sold listing of these particular items on eBay, and I want you to look at the sold date. This was October 24th of this year. It sold for less money than it originally sold for 3 years ago. In 3 years, with gold going through the roof in the last 6 to 8 months, this coin lost money. I want you to look at these ones. Now, these ones went up a little bit in price, but again, you're talking about when these things come out, the mint has a price. They have a certain area, a certain amount of money that it has to go over. So when you're looking at this, you know that the mint was making $600, $700, $800 on the coin. But in a couple years, now these sold a while back, September 18th, with gold was spiking through the roof. I think gold was really starting to climb at this point. It hadn't quite hit the $2,500 mark at this point, I don't believe. So this is where I want Tiger. Tiger, can you go pull up September 18th gold price and let me know what the gold price was on September 18th?
You mean spot price?
The spot price.
Okay.
So I want to look at this because you're talking about the Type 1, the last of the Type 1s. 4,500 mintage. Actually, it wasn't even 4,500. It was 4,493. And they only gained $140 in that short amount of time.
Okay. September 18, according to the SD Bullion site, is spot gold $2,559.43.
So it was already $2,500. So again, when you're talking the listing price, this would have sold for $3,150, $3,250, $3,300. Okay. So when you're looking at what the price would have sold in accordance to what that time frame was, it sold at or about what the mint would have charged during that time frame. So did it gain money? No. Now, again, the reason that this particular coin, the flowing here, the gold, not the privy one, but the gold regular coin is not going to gain is because it's only popular right now in people's minds. When you look at the long haul, if you're going to flip this coin, you need to do it before the next 30 days are up. You need to make sure you get it graded, pay the extra fee, overnight ship it, sign for it, get it back. As soon as it's done, get that thing listed and sell it. Because as they come down, we've already started to see this with the flowing hair privies that are MS70, where initially they were selling for $68, $69, $70, $72, $7,400, and now they're at $4,000, $4,200, $3,900. So even the metal, the big popular metal that was out there, is starting to already come down and settle in price. Now they're going to come down a little bit more. I think the silver metal with the privy is going to come down a little bit more. Personally, I think it's going to settle about that $3,200, $3,300 point. Might come down a little bit more, but I don't think it will. I think this is a really collector's piece, and I think this is one that Joe Q Public, people like me, that were able to buy one, that have one, the people who have them want them. At that point, the price is going to pretty much be stable. But the gold, I think they're going to go up and then they're going to fall pretty dramatically. If we come back and we look at some of these other sales figures and we look at the type 2 and we come over here and we get out of here and we decide, no, we're not going to look at the type 1. I want to pull up the type 2. So let's break out the type 2 and look at the sold price listings. The type 2 with box hasn't changed. Again, a 5500 mintage, and we're still looking at just a few extra dollars over what they were selling for. Now, there's something else that the U.S. Mint does, and I want you to be very leery about this when you're trying to look at historical figures. This is a little sneaky trick that the Mint does, and I want to bring it to your attention. So when we're looking at the limited edition, you guys see this. Everybody sees this, right? Everybody who's in chat, it doesn't matter which side you're looking at, put a 1 in chat. If you see that this price is $3,100, because I'm going to navigate to this right now in a different way, and this price is going to go up dramatically just because of the way I navigate to it. Okay, so I want you to look at this. This is the original release. This is the $3,100. But if I come over here and I just get back to my basics and I go to the U.S. Mint and I come over to the U.S. Mint official site and I want to come and I want to look at the product schedule. I want to look at 2021. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to the coin. I'm going to break it down by West Point because West Point's going to take me into the gold. So now I'm going to dig through here and I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see, oh, here they are, right? 28B, 28E new, right? So you're going to see these coins here and I'm going to click on one. This is the proof count. Oh, wait, what's the price? What do you see?
$3,500.
Hold on.
$3,500.
Now let's talk about this. How is it $3,500? I just showed you that the same site showed that it was $3,100. Hey, Jackalope, have a great day, buddy. Be safe. So the way I navigated this, I went a little bit different way, and it took me to a different coin. So I want you to be very leery when you're navigating the Mint and you're looking for prices. The way to get to it, you need to get to the original listings. Okay, make sure that you get to the one that says sold out. You can obviously look at this one and says we're currently sold out. But again, here is the other one. It's the exact same listing. It's the exact same one, except this is the actual listing. And I want you to be aware of this because as you're looking through, you're trying to go back and do some history to see what the original listing price of this particular one is. You're not going to get the original listing price if you don't search for the original listing price. You're going to have to come over here and look at this. If you look at this, you're going to see that sold out is gone. This is the new listing. This is the one that's now attached to the 2024 price sheet. So when you look at this, this one is going to come up because this is telling you what the bullion price of this coin would be from the U.S. Mint should they have it in stock. So if they were to get another 21W back in stock, for some reason somebody returned it or something of that nature, then they would be selling this coin for $3,500. That's what this is telling you. But go back, do your research, try to find the original listing from the U.S. Mint. They have all the sites, all these things are up, and so you'll see what the original one is. Make sure you're looking at the original listing when you're doing this, okay? Because again, it's deceptive, and it's not, I don't think it's a purposeful thing, but they've changed the site, they've rebuilt the structure, and it's really important that you're looking at this because if you're trying to make decisions on what gold has done in the last few months, well, yeah, it's just a different listing, right? But when you look at these, it's the exact same thing. It's just a different image. So again, the image changes, but the information is exactly the same. It's still the same coin. It's still the same description. It's the exact same listing and specification. It's the exact same EIN. Okay, so when you look at the EIN, it's the new one, right? This is the type 2. You're looking at that. You do see the type 2 here. So again, I want you to be very clear that when we're looking at these things and you look at the type 1, the type 2, you look at the sold listings, you're looking at these items, it's very, very important that you look at all the information. Again, it's really easy to assume that you're seeing what you're seeing, but not necessarily. What's up, Big Flip? How you doing, brother? So again, when you're looking at this, just watch. Be very careful when you're looking at these items to check the original sold listings and make sure that you see that those are there. Now, the type 2s, if we were to break down and look at the type 2, again, all we do is go backwards and we go back to that original sheet. Now remember, I went this way for the 2020 releases. Go back in, type in coin, go back in, make sure you're doing West Point. This is going to bring up those coins that are coming out. And you'll look at that EB2 here. You'll see the EHN new. And again, that listing is here. But guess what? If I come over here and look at this one, again, we're still looking at the same one. Maybe I pulled up the wrong one. Anyway, they were both $3,100. I had pulled up the type 2. But again, even if I was looking at the type 2 and I look at this price point, the price point for this one is $3,470. So again, if you're looking at these numbers, you're looking at what's happening. The type 2 didn't go as well as the type 1. People like the type 1 better. They sold better. But again, I want you to look at this because the way you navigate through the site and the things that you come across are going to yield different price points depending upon what exactly you're looking at. So I want you to be very clear on that. Again, when we look at this, we look at the type 2 sold listings. Even if it is selling for this, it's still selling under what was going on. If you look at, again, type 1, they're selling for under what they were originally sold for years ago. So why do I think when I come back over here and I bring up the flowing hair privy and I pull this up and I say, this is the reason, this coin right here is the reason that the other gold coins that they release to the general public are not going to blow up in price. It's because of what they've done here. It's because when I look at one of these and I see this listing price of $19,000 and mine doesn't have a privy, I know I'm going to be losing money on it. So again, when you're looking at this privy, when you're looking at this particular item, this is coming out December 12th. I want you to keep an eye on this. On that day, I'm going to be streaming the Stackbauer auction. I don't know if I'll be able to have it up. I've got to get some permissions to be able to have that in another one. I'm going to be doing some commentation on the bidding itself, talking about the coins, reminding people, sharing different screens, kind of talking about what's going on in this particular item, because I want to look at some of these. Now, I talked with Silver Wolverine. Now, Silver Wolverine did a video, and he brought out, and it's in one of my videos, and it's in the comments, and I've got to figure out which one it is. But it was the 2020 the special edition, and I can't remember which one it is. I'll have to go look that up. Give me just a second. Let me pull that up so I make sure I'm showing you the right stuff, but I'll make sure that I get the right one. What are your thoughts on this, Tiger? I mean, I've been running my mouth for 20 to 30 minutes.
To be honest with you, it just gives me a bad taste in my mouth. You know, I would love to learn how to flip, but that's not where my thing is. That takes time. I don't have time. So I tend to be a little bit less of a flipper and more of a stacker and trying to leave stuff for my wife. So being that these things are huge prices, and you could run one of two scenarios. Under SHTF, everything's going to go to a set price based upon weight in a horrible SHTF scenario. If you listen to Lynette Zhang, She thinks that for the most part that might be so, except for slab things that people who have money are going to be willing to buy those slab things and they're going to be willing to separate with it. Then my ulterior argument to that is rich people are rich because of one reason. They don't like to separate with money. So if you're selling something to person, they're going to try to negotiate your price down. So you're going to have to be a better negotiator than what they are and be able to read them and try to, say, well, if you don't want it, blah, blah, blah. And it's a myriad of, for lack of a better way of saying it, interpersonal politics during a transaction. And you might get very lucky. You meet a fair rich person, which I don't think there are that many of them, and they'll give you a fair price for it. But it's a shitload of energy and expense and all that trying to find a buyer to get those things, to get some of your money out or all of your money out, or worse yet, or harder yet, a higher amount because of time. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that. I'm just not. Um, so I think that the general Joe is going to be at a higher risk of losing the money that they put into this initially, and all the other higher prices that you're showing me, I think is potentially hogwash. So what do you think?
Well, I think everybody knows what I think. I don't think
In other
it's
words, hogwash.
well, yeah, again, so I think that when the Mint pulled this, and I can't find that comment by um, Silver Wolverine. I'll have to go back and look for it. But basically, it was like a 2020W, a very rare coin. There were only a mintage of 1,000, and the coin right now is selling for $21,000. But again, you're looking at a very, very, very specific coin, a very, very, very limited mintage. Um, so again, let me come back over here and turn off the screen share real quick, and um, let's just show us again. But again, there's so many possibilities here um, for this particular coin to kind of just blow the doors off of any potential investment that other people had. I think that it's really frustrating that, and I'm really losing my video. So hold on, I'm going to cut my video feed and do this real quick, just because I don't have a good signal apparently. But looking at things like um, my privy, looking at kind of where I've been, looking at some of the things that have happened and things that have occurred, looking at some of the elements that are there, I just don't think that we're going to see a really good, a really solid price point being maintained with a non-privy gold coin. I think once the privy comes out, people start seeing the money that's there. I think the people who really want the best of the best, they're going to get this. They're going to get what they want. And there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunity for anybody else to get it. Now, one of the arguments, and I can go over some of these, which some of them I understand, some of them I get. Um, I get some of the arguments. I'm going to put that in there, Tiger. What do you think?
Yeah.
No, you
Are you
like.
talking about Mr. You talking about Mr. Professor Rigobordis?
I'll put that in there just because it's funny. This is going to be one of Tiger's new emojis in his chat. So, um, but yeah, I think that when people start seeing this price, I think when people start seeing the 20, 25, $30,000 on these privy coins, if they haven't already sold the other ones, the other people are going to be like, why? The big value is gone. All the big money spenders, um, they may want to get both. You may get people that want to collect the entire set, the real big spenders. They may not. They may just say, hey, I don't want any of the other ones. They may just get both privies. I have some questions regarding where the hell the other 25,000 medals went. Still haven't heard anything about that. They were talking potentially about multi-sets being done. But that's the case, then I'm not sure what they would do with that because there's not enough gold coins to do that. The 17,500 gold coins sold out in less than 4 minutes. We've seen that
That's
before.
like super fast.
Well, we've seen that before with smaller runs. So again, you're talking about people worldwide to potentially want to get this. Is that feasible? Yes, it's feasible. But remember, there was a massive, massive coin show happening the same day in Baltimore. And so if there were all those people in Baltimore, they had to guarantee everybody who was in line won. And the line was huge. Paula sent me a message. My director was actually at the show because headquarters isn't too far from there. And so didn't send me any photos, didn't really communicate with me while they were there. Let me know that they picked one up, picked up some other pieces, sent me a couple coins that they picked up. But again, how many did they have there? How many are in Denver? How many are in San Francisco? How many are in Philadelphia? Because they have coin shops at the other mints, maybe not San Francisco, but San Francisco and Philadelphia, or excuse me, Denver and Philadelphia. So how many are there? So they have to have a couple for the coin shop. I'm sure they probably sold out pretty quick. It'd be interesting to check with Hugh to find out if Hugh can go talk to his friend that works at the Denver Mint to see if there are any left there. I think that would be curious to find out. But again, I think it's just kind of interesting to see. Now I'm going to be monitoring the actual auction because I want to see how high number one goes. That's my interest. That's what I'm curious to see. But as far as the other, there's just too much information out there that points to these other gold coins just losing mass value. So I'm going to have you share your screen because I want you to see, to show people what you would have rather bought instead of this privy. And I want to talk about the fact that you could have bought an ounce and a half of gold for the price that they were asking for.
Okay, let me get over to here, see where I can do the share screen. Settings, what's this one?
No, down at the bottom, there's going to be a little computer with an arrow up.
I see a little X. I click the X. It says share, screen share. Screen one. Okay, I think I got it. There it is.
Sinus is kicking your tail.
Oh, big time. Okay. As you all know, even though I don't put a lot of faith into just everyone 100%, I have more faith that Trump is going to pull our country out of garbage. Subsequently, I vote for him, and I also think as time goes on, he's going to prove himself to be a good president, and therefore anything with his image on it is going to be worth more money. But that's just my opinion. But if you look at this is something I've had my eye on. Look at that price. You know, $26.52 for one. Okay, for a 1/10 ounce.
Now, mind you, real quick, let's talk about this. We're talking about $100 over spot.
Yeah, $100 over spot. And what you're talking about with the flowing hair medallion or medal?
No, the gold one is a coin.
It's a coin. Okay.
It's a dollar coin.
I thought it was going to be just like the silver, so I didn't pick that up. But this is a medal. It's not a coin, but you know it is a little bit over spot. Basically $100, maybe a little bit less. This one's obviously a little bit more because it's a 1/10. I would be more willing, me personally, to get this one or both over the flowing hair. Nor do I want to have to deal with fighting everyone to get a piece of gold put in my stack. So I would much rather do that.
Sup,
I'd
JJ?
much I'd much rather get an eagle or buffalo. Um, if actually I have a lead on one of the older 1/10 ounce buffaloes from my pawn shop. She has a small collection of them. I've been begging her to let me buy one, but I'd rather buy that a tenth of that because that has been holding its value over time, proven,
Silver
and
Hair
it's a
Seeker,
pull.
thank you so much for subscribing. Greatly appreciate you, brother.
So
Thank you so
you
much.
know, and I'm a huge believer in buying pre-33. I love the pre-33s. Um, and I'd buy a pre-33 any day if it's the right price, simply because it's older.
Preach it,
Yeah,
brother.
it's been in people's pockets. My grandfather probably had some of these coins in his pocket. It feels like holding a piece of my grandfather in with me when I carry one with me. I miss my grandfather. He was a wise man. And holding on to one of these feels like holding on to a piece of him. Um, Holding on to the Morgans, the pieces, the constitutional silver, same thing. I would much rather, me personally, grab this stuff and maybe grab this one of these because I think that this, because of his performance to be, is going to be helping this country grow. Let me put it this way: one of our, in my opinion, one of our most unsung hero presidents we've ever had was Gerald Ford. He pretty much shot his career down the toilet when he pardoned President Nixon. But our country was ripping itself apart over Watergate. And by pardoning Nixon, there was no longer a reason to have war. They transmitted their anger on him, which ruined the rest of his political career. But in retrospect, 20, 30 years later, they realize this guy sacrificed his career to salvage our country. That ranks up there with George Washington and President Lincoln. And I have a feeling that this is going to happen with Trump. That's my personal opinion. But I would rather buy this or these any day of the week. And my preference is pre-33. I do kind of like the gold eagle. I like the gold buffalo better. I like the gold maple better than those. And I don't mind getting some Britannias. But I'll take a pre-33 over any coin, gold coin, any day of the week. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, and again, I'm very much the same way. If you're going to give me now, don't get me wrong. Anybody who wants to give me a gold bullion coin, I'm right there with you. I'll gladly accept it. Thank you very much. Happy doing business with you. Um, but it's more about for me the collectability. Now, I understand collectability, but I also, being a numismatist, I also understand a lot regarding. Hey, I just got another subscriber. It doesn't show me who it is, but thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate you. But what I don't have is an understanding of every nuance when it comes to numismatics. But I do understand that in numismatics there are some things that I need to better understand in order to truly understand value. Some of those things are rarity. So looking at this gold flowing hair, people are like, "Oh my God, they're so rare." Well, actually, there's a lot of runs that are neater and cooler, and they have way smaller mintages than 17,500. When you look at some of the other ones, now, for instance, there have been great big runs too. If you remember the 2017 Liberty Gold dollar, the one that came out with her and she had the stars around her head, absolutely beautiful piece. There were almost 100,000 of those minted, and that one won coin of the year in 23. Fabulous, fabulous coin. Absolutely gorgeous. Now the flowing here is very, very nice. I really like it. I love the lettered edging. The field on it. They did a really good job of representing the original 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. They did a really good job representing that. So I'm not knocking the metal artists, the designers, the developers, the technical engineers, the consultants, all the people who engrave it. I'm not knocking that. What I'm knocking is the mint's understanding of their collector, their base, us. That's what frustrates me about this whole scenario. Now, I've had people. I told you I was going to read some of the comments in some of my chats, and one of them was like, "Frosty, we gave up collecting everything from the mint years ago. Why don't you get on board?" And I'm like, "Well, you need to understand, I don't. I don't collect stuff from the mint. I do collect numismatic stuff, and I do collect certain metals, and I do collect certain pieces that I really like. But again, I want people to understand that I am not a huge fan of what the mint is doing. I really hoped for the common collector that the mint would allow this one to be for the collector, not give it to the high, not fall into peer pressure. Now, something else was said, and I want to get into this a little bit. I don't want to dig in too much. The person whose channel it was said on, I want to get their permission because of some of the stuff that potentially could have been said. I want to make sure that number one, it's framed correctly, and number two, I want to make sure it doesn't get them in trouble. But basically, what was stated was this. We know that if we do something, we put a special label or something on it, it might take off. And it happens to take off, then it'll fetch more money. Which tells me that one of the people that actually made this statement that they are a distributor, that they put things in certain labels in hopes that their label takes off. It has nothing to do with the coin. It has nothing to do with the collectability. They will manufacture the rarity. We saw this with the Star Privy. If any of you guys saw the Star Privy and you guys think this, everybody's like, oh my God, it's only 1 in 50,000. And oh my God, it's the lowest minted. No, it's not. I don't know why they call it, it's the lowest Boolean mintage. Well, outstanding. It's not 50,000, it's 500,000. The 50,000 was strictly a label. Oh, and by the way, it's not the only one that they're going to be doing. It's going to be also, hey, Tiger, thanks for gifting the 5 memberships, brother. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Jeff C. Blistering Barnacles. I like that dude. He's funny. Daniel Roberts, Coin Dude, and Darren Gray. Congratulations in the gifted memberships.
And remember when they run out, Frosty does a lot of work. Yeah, I do a good bit of work myself, but my job gets in the way. Frosty has a really big, important job and somehow finds a way to put content out frequently, more than I can. He deserves your membership because he's going to fill your head full of knowledge. So please renew your memberships whenever they expire. It'll be worth your while.
I appreciate that, Brad. I've got to make a statement here. That was not a paid advertisement.
No, you're not going to give me one of those gold privies? I'm going. I'm out of
He's
here.
withdrawing the memberships now. No, but I appreciate that, Tiger. I do. But I like knowledge. This is why the fun in being the hey Dimebag, what's up? Good to see you. Hold on just a second. Jack Gallman, are you in the hospital, man? Are you okay? He's in chat. Sorry, one of our community members is in the hospital. Just want to make sure that he's okay. Please message me, and if it is, yeah, we'll definitely we'll say a prayer for you, and I'll reach out to you and make sure that. No, not yet. He's going to be there, but not yet. Okay. Save here first. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you. Okay, let's get back on this. Yeah, make sure that. Oh, your wife is in the hospital. Oh, that's no good. Let us know that everything's okay. If you need to email me, Jack, you got my email. Please reach out to me and let me know. And if you need anything, we can coordinate some time. You have had a very rough. Jack's had a very rough 6 months. So please throw prayers Jack's way and let him know that you're thinking and praying for him. But do me a favor, make sure that you send me a message, and if you need anything, we'll rally around you and make sure that you have all the things that you need. Okay, brother? I know you don't like asking for stuff, but guess what? We just asked you. So reach out to me and let me know, okay? Love you, brother. All right, let's get back into this. I hate seeing this. Thank you for letting me know, JJ. I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll definitely be praying for. Oh, can I say it? Jack and Diane. Oh, that is awesome. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
I
You're
love
not,
that
you,
song.
yeah, I didn't know your wife's name was Diane. Not every time I see your name, I'm going to have that song pop up into my head. Well, give your daughter a big hug and let her know that we're glad that she's taking care of mom and dad. And again, if you need anything, my mom is in chat. Hi, mom. Love you. Now, Jack, I will tell you one thing. This lady will definitely get you on prayer chains. And when she says she's praying, she's praying. So, mom, I appreciate you saying that because she follows through. She is a definite woman of her word. So, thanks, mom. I appreciate you saying that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump back into this. But again, JJ, thanks for the heads up. I appreciate the notice. And thank you guys once again for the super chats and Tiger for the gifted memberships. That's awesome.
Did you read my super chat?
Everyone put a one in chat if you think Frosty should get a privy from Tiger Stacker. Yes, everybody put a one in chat. There you go. Yes. Everybody thinks that Tiger should, or Frosty should get a privy from Tiger Stacker. Yes.
I'm buying you new glasses. You're getting Mr. Magoo glasses.
Hey, I just got new ones. Everybody thinks I'm trying to be cool online. It's just I have to see that way. Oh, too much fun. So again, we'll talk about numismatics, and we're talking about Mr. Magoo exactly. Oh, hold on, I can change my my thumbnail to that too. But
oh, you got Mr. Magoo?
Yeah, I'll pull that up. But it's the one that Bifrost. Remember Bifrost did the.
I really like her work.
Yeah, she does some amazing stuff. I don't know if it's on my computer, if it's on my phone. It might be on my phone. I'll have to check and see. But
do you think you can help me get a Mr. Magoo emoji?
Later I'm sure she'll. Today? Here, we'll do this. Here, we'll do this one instead, okay?
Okay.
There we go. There we go. Now we got a better emoji up there. There we go. Yeah. So again, when we're talking about gold and numismatics, I really am about the collector, right? So I think the Mint had a really good opportunity, and this is something else that when we talk about the U.S. Mint, there's something that really frustrated me in this conversation that happened between YouTube and the Mint director, her Honorable Ventress Gibson. And the thing that was said was, hey, we heard you. It was a video that was done. It was one for the Mint on the silver medal. It was one for the Mint on the gold coin. It was the exact same video. They just changed the coloration of the backgrounds, but it was the exact same presentation. They just cannibalized it and put it up under a different name. But in both sides, she's like, and we reached out to the general public and we heard you. This is the reason that we did this particular one. But the problem is that I don't think that they really hurt us. Now, why is that? Because there were a number of other people who stated, and if you've ever been a part and watched the CAC, not CAC as in CAC grading, but CAC as the community that gathers together, they talk about what is and what isn't approved. They vote on what is and what isn't, and what can and can't be on coins.
Oh,
And they talk more about money. They talk more about durability. They talk more about, is national security going to be okay with this particular item? And they talk a lot. I'm going to say that again. They talk a lot about social matters. And so, is that a problem? No, absolutely not. But again, when we're talking about the history of coins, remembering the semi-quincentennial of the United States of America, representing it as a remembrance of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, talking about the freedom of our nation 250 years ago, why are we still stuck on 1960s, 1970s social movements? Now, they're very important. Please don't get me wrong. I'm a history fan, and I absolutely admire what many of these people did. We look at the Women in Quarter series, and there's a lot of people historically that I look at and go, I didn't even know what they had done. I didn't know what all Maria Tallchief was. All I knew is that she was a ballet dancer. I didn't know all the stuff that she had done for women's suffrage and women's rights and some of the stuff that she had done. I look at certain coins, and I absolutely look at like Sally Ride and Krista McAuliffe, and I look at some of these people and know exactly who they are because I was really engaged in aerospace and flight, Air Force and military, and engagement with space and cyberspace and all the stuff that happens. Looking at some of the technology on the $1 coins and being fascinated by some of that stuff. Yes, I enjoy the history. Yes, I enjoy the numismatic aspect of it. But what I don't get is why they have to have 7 coins with the same person on it. We had so much opportunity for them to really do something amazing, not in medals, not in commemoratives, but in our circulating coinage, to really teach and allow the common person, Joe Q public. I say that all the time. It's a representation of common person. It's a fictional person. And everybody had the opportunity to do something cool and to go through pocket change and potentially find something like a flowing hair quarter. Or to find something like, oh, I don't know, maybe something like an Ike dollar with on a 50-cent piece. Or maybe instead of having the Liberty Bell on the back, maybe it had the eagle. Maybe there was a George Washington, a new George Washington, or maybe there was a Ronald Reagan piece that had, I don't know, maybe a Liberty Bell. Or maybe it had George Washington crossing the Potomac. Maybe it had the Battle of Gettysburg. Maybe it had some of the other significant battles of World War I. Maybe there was a commemoration of the United States in D-Day. There's a whole lot of things that could have happened that historically represented freedom, freedom from oppression. Why did World War II? We talk about the freedom from the Third Reich. Right? We talk about oppression from that. We look at this. Yes, we talk about civil social justice and things like that. Yes, women's suffrage, civil rights. All of those things are extremely important. But again, there are so many other great historical stories that need to be presented. But this wasn't about social liberties. It was about the freedom and the independence of our nation 250 years ago. It was about the remembrance of the Declaration and the Constitution. But yet, do you think we're going to have anything like a First Amendment coin or a Second Amendment coin or something like the Constitution on the reverse? No. Because they didn't really care and they didn't really want to listen to the suggestions that were made. Oh, by the way, you're an afterthought. Hey, we better do something because there were a lot of people complaining after we released what the fallout of this is. we did they did do something that was really cool in 2024, which was the greatest generation. If you haven't seen the greatest generation coinage, it was absolutely fabulous, and it was something that I think they did a really good job on. I would have liked to have seen them change a couple of the elements on that particular one. But if you look at, I'm going to pull this up, the greatest generation pieces were pretty amazing. They had some really, really, really amazing pieces. Now I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to have to share my screen, but let me grab this real fast. Well, it might help if I shared my screen. I'm sorry. I'm over here showing something, but it's not showing that. All right, let's pull this up. All right, we look at the semi-quincentennial. We look at the opportunities that were here. Now, I want you to look at the history. Now, I want you to think about where we were in the United States, and I want you to think about the various coinages that were here. Now, we look at the flowing hair, right? You see this flying chicken, this little scraggly bird that was on the back of the half diem, the very first coin that happened in the United States. We look at the flowing hair. We looked at the capped bust, the seated liberty, the Gobrecht dollar. We look at Lady Liberty. We look at these gold coins. We look at the various mints like Dahlonega. And we look at some of the items that came from those particular ones. And we're like, there's so much history here. There's so much opportunity. And then you have the flowing hair, and you look at things that happened later on after the Coin Act that came out telling people that they couldn't use foreign coinage anymore. When they started to develop our own coinage, you're really getting nice coins. And we have the most beautiful coin that many people would say it's in the world, which is the Godden's Double Eagle. How cool would it have been to have had a quarter or a 50-cent piece that looked like the Godden's Double Eagle in your circulating coinage? Or having something that looked like the Standing Liberty quarter. Something that generated a remembrance of freedom. Right? We look at some of the other commemoratives that are here and we see there's some really cool stuff. And this is the one that I was talking about on the far right. I know it's very hard to see. I'm going to try and zoom into this. But this is the one that I'm talking about right here. This is the one that the one on the right was the coin of the year last year, 2017. It's a beautiful piece. Right? So I'm not talking about commemorative coinages, but why couldn't we have something like We the People? Why couldn't we have something talking about the Declaration of Independence? Why couldn't we have something talking about the Constitution? Why couldn't we have something that allowed us to remember this instead of so focused on the social injustice and social inequalities? I bet you won't find anything about religion, but if you remember why we came over here for freedom of religion and freedom from oppression. But I bet you won't find that on too many coins. But yet the U.S. Mint listened to the standard collector. I don't think so. I don't think so. So I don't agree with Ventris Gibson, and I don't agree with her commentary that we heard you. I scoff at that, actually. I think those are just a vocal play. I wish the U.S. Mint would be less about making money and really look at their bread and butter, which is the standard collector, and look at how can we actually genuinely not manipulate people into wanting to get something, but how do we genuinely build character into the coinage and get people interested in collecting coins again? How do we put something else? You guys remember the V75? Or maybe when they put the W on the quarters. How many people started doing coin roll searches? Yeah, JJ, it's a fact. The mint turned into a money making machine. Now, it's part of law. One of the legal requirements the United States Mint have is to not lose money. So I understand that there's an element where they have to do this. This is why I'm not necessarily upset. Bless you, Tiger. That I'm not necessarily upset that the Mint decided to auction these privies. I'm upset that they took it away from the opportunity for the common man to have them, the common woman. Maybe that 20-year-old who got one of their first paychecks and wanted the opportunity to buy a really nice gold piece. They saved up for 5 or 6 months. And yes, there are still kids out there who know how to save. Maybe they wanted to put money aside. Oh, me. But won't do it because, number one, knowing that as soon as I buy the gold coin without the privy, as soon as this privy comes out, it's going to lose its value. Tiger mentioned a little while ago that he doesn't want to do a whole lot of flipping because it's so much of a pain. You got to have networks in place. You got to do something on eBay. You got to have people that run auctions, and you have to worry about paying fees and all this other stuff. I'm not about flipping the coin. This is why I'm keeping the privy coin, the silver medal. I love the piece. It's amazing. I have the opportunity if I wanted to sell it for a few $1,000s. But you know what? Then I wouldn't have something. There's only 1,794 of those.
And if I may interject on another side of the point, I never really cared about the damn privy on the silver. To be honest with you, I didn't even want to get involved in that whole silver version buying because I didn't understand how much things were out in the real world. And after if they sold them, like, how much is it to get a flowing hair? I had no clue. It was in the $5,000 to $7,000 range because it was all antiquated and all the collectors wanted them. So, sorry, the allergies are real kicking my butt. But basically, after I found that out, I'm like, I should have at least bought one without the privy because I don't care about the privy. In my case, I care about teaching. I wanted something in my teaching box to share my grandchildren, God help me, if I can be part of their lives, but have something in my teaching box to teach them the value of coins, the value of gold and silver, what our country has done to our currency, so that they will see the future as they grow older and know how to protect their wealth and preserve their families. So I was given an opportunity. Not sure if I have the right to mention the person who gave me an opportunity to get one.
Absolutely.
Okay. It was Frosty. He ended up getting one from a family member.
Yeah, she's in here. She's the one, and she's aware of it. She knows exactly where it's going to. She even told me that if she knew that you weren't able to get one, she would have bought one and sent it to you. Of course, if it would have had the privy, she would have sent it to me, and then I would have just sent you a normal one. But
it doesn't matter. But Frosty, being someone who has collector's books and wanted one of the holes in his books filled, and I had a trade dollar that was going to fill it, and I think he really liked it mostly because it had a chop mark in it.
There's a ton of history in it. It's in a fabulous one.
Yeah.
Now, not only would it be cool in my typeset book, but it's a win-win scenario, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We both are getting something of same approximated value. Now, again, I'm showing you the one with the privy. You look at the regular one. Again, these are what the prices of the privies are selling for. So as I talk about, the prices that if I wanted to sell one in a CAC holder, I could get anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 for it. I'm not interested in selling it. I'm not interested in selling it because I'm a collector and I wanted this one. Now, If I didn't get one, I wouldn't have been heartbroken because I wanted the metal, right? And if I just come up here and I take out the with privy and I show what they're going for with the metal, this is what he's talking about. You're talking a couple $100 for the same one. And if you have it in 70 or MS69, there's going to be a little bit of a difference. But again, so you have some of these that are funny because they're sealed. So you can buy it sealed. It's dangerous because you don't know that it's actually in there. So this is, be careful of this stuff, by the way. You guys can see this. 230th Flowing Hair Gold box, OGP COA, no coins. Make sure you pay attention to those because these are starting to come out where you can spend $1,000 and not even get the coin. So be very, very careful. But again, you can have them 69, 70. They're going for $200, $300, $400. So what Tiger Stacker was talking about is him and I said, hey, he's got a coin that's about this price. I got a coin that's about that price. Why don't we trade? I even asked him if he wanted it graded or not. He said, no, it's going into his teaching box. Right? I think that's way more important. Now, what did this do? And the reason that I brought Tiger up here was to talk about a couple of things that Tiger and I are doing. So Tiger and I enjoy working together as stacker and collector. Why do you like doing it, Tiger? What's your biggest thing from you and I doing stuff like this, both for the stacker and for the collector? He's probably blowing his nose. I think he stepped away. As for me, so when I look at this and I'm seeing this, getting something like this is cool. But what I really enjoy, the thing that I really enjoy about collecting is I can work with other people. And I can find something that they like and they find something they're like, hey, I really like this privy coin. Right? Here, can you hear me? Whoops, hold on.
Can you hear me?
You kicked yourself out. You're back.
How did I do that?
I'm not sure.
You just answered me.
Well, I just unmuted you and brought you back into the stream.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how I did that.
But Tiger and I have done this a number of times where it's like, hey, I'm going to be going through my peace dollars. It's like, well, make sure you look through them before you put them away. And him and I looked through them, and it ended up being beneficial, extremely beneficial for both of us. So Tiger,
can I answer you?
Go ahead.
Can I answer your question that you asked me that you couldn't hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, started off with you helping me with tech, and then over a very short period of time, we developed a friendship. So part of the reason I like hanging out with you because I just like hanging out with you. Part of the other reason is because I really enjoy intelligent people, and you're one of the most intelligent ones out there, not only in our community, but in general. But you also remind me of my dad, who was very kind and giving from the soul, and you remind me of him. So hanging out with you when you do things and you don't ever ask anything in return is kind of like having my dad around in a new version. But yeah. But the other reason is because I learn a lot about these coins that I didn't know about. Prior to that, was me learning about stacking and weight and preserving wealth and the typical generic stacking. But in the meantime, I've learned things that I really have enjoyed. I'm not up to a level of a numismatist, but I enjoy putting out information. And in some of you've seen it in some of my videos, I have put in there numismatic type of information. So when I'm talking about the different coins that existed in the past, I threw in there in typed form, when they were out, who made them, all that type of stuff, which I think is kind of cool to have that available to my grandsons, but for everybody else to really understand the neatness, the coolness of these coins and their history. Oh, that one has a lot of chop marks on it. Wow.
We'll talk
So,
about what's right, what's wrong with this particular coin. This is not an authentic coin, by the way.
okay.
We'll
So
talk
no,
about
I
why.
get a lot of fun out of that. When we did the peace dollars, yeah, I got twice the amount of weight. You got harder to find coins that have more price to them. And in your case, you really enjoy having the harder to get ones. In my case, when I die, I can't rely on my wife to pay attention to any of it, and she's going to get seriously taken advantage of by other people. So she has generic weight. Uh, she's less likely to get taken advantage of. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I just covered some of them. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah, but you do something a lot of people don't do, and this is one of the things that I really get from Tiger when Tiger and I are working together. Tiger's very organized, almost OCD style organized when it comes to understanding what's in his stack, understanding what he has as far as a collection of items. So whether he's building a monster box of peace dollar, Morgan dollar combinations, whether he's building a monster box of war nickels, whether he's building silver gold collections, whether he's working on tubes of gold 10th ounce eagles, or whether he's working on a tube of 1 ounce silver Rolos. He keeps meticulous records about what he does, when he buys it, how much he buys it for. And this is really important because he said, well, I don't know that I can trust my wife. Well, but what he's doing is he's setting himself up and he's setting his spouse up for success. And this is really important. So, one of the lessons as a numismatist that I really like is oh, I got an auction at 1 p.m. Getting coins credit. Oh, gotcha. Take care. Appreciate you, John. Have a good day. We'll chat with you tomorrow.
Thank you for coming, John.
But one of the things I get from Tiger is I look at things from an organizational standpoint. That's a gap that I have within my life and my structure when it comes to collecting. And I learned a long time ago from a very good mentor who taught me a number of different things in life. He taught me a lot about structure. He taught me about engineering. He taught me about general life. He taught me about putting my hands into the hands of somebody else through rock climbing. He taught me about the words on belay and on belay, what that means, not only for rock climbers, but amongst the community. If you were doing something, you said, I got you on belay. What does that mean? It means that I got your life. If you fall, I've got you. You focus on what it is that you're doing. And if something happens and you slip up, you don't have to worry about falling because I've got the rope. I'm observant, I'm paying attention, and I'm also going to call if something happens to fall. This same gentleman taught me that I don't have to know everything, which is hard for me because I want to know as much as I possibly can. I want to be able to have an understanding of how things work. But one thing that he taught me, and I love mentorship, I love the people who brought before me, and unfortunately, my mentor died a few years back, and I'll miss John with everything I am for a lot of years. It's a gap in my whole. And when I listen to in my heart, not my whole, that did not sound right. Um, but when I listen to people like Tiger and he talks about these things, I need people like him in my corner. I need people who are organized, who are structured, who understand the process of that and the why it's so important because he brings something to my table that I'm lacking. And I think it's really important when we talk about stacking and numismatists. I think it's very important that we surround ourselves with people who know a lot more about other things than we do. Great Scott's in chat right now. Great Scott and I, when I first started, he came over and he taught me how to do streaming. We talked about some of the things and he helped me work out some of the nuances. He helped me identify how I could go through and do certain things like, oh, I want to change and I want to turn certain things off. Or you guys see the display that I have and you guys see the rotating Earth and you see the image of the moon. You see the solar system on cycle, right? This is a background. This is a construct that I built. And so I've taken the lessons that Great Scott has given me and I've expanded on them. And then when I find out, I reach out to him and say, hey, Great Scott, come here, check this out. I want to show you this. Look what I found. This is really cool. Check this out. And then he finds out something, or he's working in a stream and he's in and he's like, hey, Frosty, there's something wrong with your audio. It keeps cutting out. Multiple streams at the same time. Yeah, exactly. Using multiple streams, multiple programs, multiple windows. Right? So doing those different things. So it's important to surround yourself with those kind of people. This is one reason I enjoy working with Tiger. I enjoy working with Tiger because as a stacker, he brings something to the table that I don't have. And as we start talking about this, now obviously I'm talking a lot more tonight than Tiger is because we're talking about the flowing hair and the privy. But when we talk,
no, that's because you never give me a chance to talk. You control everything. And I'm telling your mother. Never mind. I'm having fun.
And he's a horse's ass.
Yes. No, I'm a tiger's ass.
He's a tiger's ass. But again, it's important to surround yourself with people. The other thing that I absolutely love, and I know she's not listening right now because she's probably asleep, and that's Paula. There are two ladies in my life, three ladies actually in my life, who are extremely knowledgeable when it comes to numismatics, who understand the various nuances and the designs and the elements and the processes when it comes into this. And I utilize them and I defend them viciously when other people attack them because they're women in a man's game. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, haha, that's not funny. It happens all the time, actually. And it's really important that we surround ourselves with people. This is why I surround myself with Tiger. This is why I invited him on tonight. But there's something that Tiger and I have talked about doing for a long time, and that is kind of joining to bring some information to you together as stackers and as collectors. And Tiger and I are actively working on that. So you guys will be seeing stuff from Tiger and I, specifically on various topics that realm straight from silver and gold, very little numismatic involvement, to great numismatic involvement. So I want you guys to stay tuned to that because I think it's really important that if you're going to be a collector, that you surround yourself with a bunch of people. Copper Al, what's going on? There's another one that is very, very knowledgeable when it comes to numismatics. He kind of hides in the shadows sometimes, but this dude is extremely, extremely knowledgeable. But again, it's keeping people in your corner and making sure that you surround yourself with people who are extremely knowledgeable. There are other people that come into under the radar. Well, but again, we have people who do coin roll hunting. We have people that do metal detecting, and we have a lot of metal detectors who are extremely adept at numismatics. Ringmaster Ray, he likes to think he's funny, but his jokes are worse than dad jokes.
There's something worse than your dad jokes?
Oh, yeah, just listen to his. He thinks he's funny, and poor soul doesn't even know he's not funny. No, I love Ray. Ray's my brother. But again, it's just there's so many people that are adept, and you need to surround yourself with a bunch of these people. And this is why I'll tell you guys, look, if you want to subscribe to my channel, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, not because I need to be your sole source, but because you know that I'll work with you to find people who are best suited for your needs. I don't need you guys coming to me for everything. But if you want to come to me and help me identify what it is that you want to look for, and I can help identify the people that can help you solve that issue, then I feel like I've done a service to you. Our jokes, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, his lead jokes give them a run for money. Yeah, but it's just, but that's what sometimes that's what makes him funny. I don't need to be the center point of this. Tiger doesn't need to be the center point for all of your stacking concerns. He just wants to provide and give you good content. Hey, Michael Wells, what's going on? Good to see you. But it's important to surround yourself with good people. So when having this discussion regarding bullion, I wanted to bring Tiger in because I wanted you guys to hear that it's extremely important that you guys get multiple perspectives and that you don't just listen to me rant as a numismatist, rant as a collector. Um, because again, my goal is to protect the common collector. The high end people, the high end dollars, they've got it. They can take care of themselves. They got people looking out for them. But I really, really want to make sure that our hobby is protected for the people who come into it. Because if we don't protect what we have, if we don't gain and grow and gain ground within our hobby, we're going to lose it. So we need to make sure that we have people in our hobby to make sure that we can carry it and move forward. What are
Well,
your thoughts, Tiger?
if we don't get the young people to pay attention, they're going to be prey to what our government does to us. Um, I don't consider myself a doom and gloomer, but I do consider myself a realist. And when you look at history and you look at the history that started at the time of my grandfather's beginning in the world, about 1890s, to what's going on now, the debasement of our money, the moving away from gold and silver, the inflation, the Fed, all, and the fact that this has happened to multiple currencies over 6,000 years, basically 4,800 currencies in 6,000 years. And man does not learn. Man repeats the same mistakes. Man doesn't listen. And if you don't listen to it, you're condemned to repeat it, according to George Santayana, which is one of the smartest things that he's ever said. We got to teach our children not only to protect themselves, but if you remember the history, if you are taught the history and you choose to make it a part of your life and make it a part of what you're taught, you're less likely to get fooled like I was up until 2021. You don't think that, the paper currency, is money. You don't think that the government's going to have your back. Crazy, desperate countries do desperate measures, and usually it's to their own citizens. And we have the greatest country in the world, and the great American experiment that happened at the wisdom of the hardship that our forefathers went through and tried to prevent it from recurring. And we got to teach the history of the our country, but we got to teach the history of the currency. We got to teach them that this paper money is nothing but a set of promises. And if they go to CBDC, it's going to be even worse because you can't even follow it because you can't touch it. The thing is that if you don't teach these youngsters, they're doomed. It's just like not teaching them how to cook, not teaching them how to garden, not teaching them how to raise animals. They're doomed. And when countries fall apart, it's the people out in the outskirts, the people who have nothing, who have learned how to gather their own water, raise their own food. They're the ones that survive. And we need to teach our children how to do this. Otherwise, they're toast. And so coin teaching to me is an integral part of the whole prepping thing. Subsequently, one of the main reasons I started my channel and the reason I started the teaching box and all that is because I want my grandchildren to know what's going on, but also because as I'm trying to prepare to leave this earth and leave hints for my grandchildren, but I'm also trying to teach everyone out there what I've learned in my 62 years of life. Um, So, coin history, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty awesome. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I don't know the level of coin stuff, numismatist stuff that Frostbyte does. I'm not sure I even care to, but I do want to know the history. I find history fun. I find history of our country, of coins, of the Christian faith. History is really fun for me. You asked me to tell you the nuances of these different coins and what makes one more valuable than another. I'm toast, but that's why I can ask Frostbite to help me through these things that I don't know much about. But you give me a chance to teach a bunch of kids, I'm all in, and we all need to be all in for the youngsters so that they take over when our demise comes, so that they can go ahead and you know survive and teach their next generation
If you
so that
guys are
they can
watching
survive.
this and you haven't seen Tiger Stacker's teaching box, go watch that. He did a video regarding the teaching box that he put together for his grandsons, and this man doesn't just talk it; he lives it. He has got a collection of some amazing coins, real and fake, gold, silver. He's got uh, classic architecture style coins where you look at, or excuse me, classic archetype style coins, which are seated, flowing hair, those type of things, and then all the way up to new gold, old gold, pre 33. He's got peace dollars that he got 21 peace dollar in his teaching box. He's got just some fabulous, fabulous coins. But he also has got a lot of information that talks about why the coins that he has in his teaching box are fake, and he allows the kids to see them and to actually touch them and see what they're about. Why is that important? Well, anybody who's ever worked at a bank or ever handled money knows that the more you handle the money, the more you'll understand what is and isn't real. Everybody in chat that's heard a silver dollar ping on a ping tester knows that sound. And after you do it a few times, you can tell very, very quickly which one's real and which one's not. You can test gold the same way. Anybody who's had a metal slide that slid silver or copper down a slide, a magnetic slide, knows that it still slides. It just slides very, very slowly. Well, why do you learn these things? Well, you watch videos, you see these things, but there's so much misinformation out there. How do you discern what's fact from truth? Well, we pass on the lessons that we learn. And it's important to turn it, but he doesn't just put it in a box and leave it for naught. He gives everybody an opportunity to look at that box. And he shared that box in a video. So again, Tiger's a man of his word. He talks about what he does and he's doing it. He talks about the organizational and structure of his stack. Well, guess what? He's got a spreadsheet that analytics and everything tell you exactly how much money he has and where it's at. When he sells something, how much he sold it for against what he had. What was his net gain? What was his net loss? He talks the walk and he walks the talk. I heard a comment years and years ago from Alexander the Great that said, I'm not afraid of an army of lions if it's led by a sheep, but I am afraid of an army of sheep if it's led by a lion, because you are the way your leaders are projected. And I talk about Tiger in a leadership stance from this standpoint because, again, I lack in this capability. I put a teaching box together. My entire collection is a teaching box. It's all going to my kids. But I need to understand, do they know what they have? And so it's really important for me to do what Tiger's done and make sure that's done. So talk to him a little bit about what's in your teaching box and why I think this is one of the coolest things that you can do, not only as a grandfather, or as a father, or as a mother, or grandmother, aunt, uncle, whatever. I think it's a great idea. So, Tiger, can you kind of go over a little bit? I know you don't have it with you because you're on the road traveling, but can you
Hmm.
go a little bit about kind of some of the stuff that's in there and what the premise is and why you have this teaching box for your grandkids?
Well, if you look at the way I was raised. I was born in 1962,
God, he's old.
and you're not far behind. You little turkey. Anyway, but no, honestly, um, if you look at the way my grandfather came into this world, he was a son of a farmer in Virginia, and his grandfather was during the time of slavery, and he didn't have a big plantation. He just had a small thing. But when you look at it, what money was and how much money that they didn't have, um, you can't help it but to to see what they had and what they didn't have. And then my grandfather knew the value of silver dollars and silver currency, and he knew the value of a lot of other things. In fact, if you can pull me up, I have my. Let me see if I can share the screen. Extra camera share screen. Okay. Uh, is it up there?
Yep.
Okay. If you look at this is the video with my teaching box. Okay, and it's not had a lot of views, and I can understand it's not so cool on the thumbnail, but it is cool. Okay, because you have two little ones being taught by their grandfather, and it was not only that I learned, but I learned the changes of what things had happened over the years. I did one of my very first videos was this one right here, Worsening Trends Exposed, where I didn't talk about what I'd learned from my grandfather, but what I'd learned from my 60 years of life on this earth, and how it had affected everything. And I got a few decent views, especially being early on into the YouTube career. But this one right here, I'm going to try to make sure I turn off the sound. Yeah, sound's turned off. But basically, I started off usually I start off putting out the different things I talked about. This time, I left everything out and took it away over time. So I showed the issues about the fakes, and about the Morgans, and about the fake Morgans I had, and the American Silver Eagle, and the fake Silver Eagle, the fake and the real silver maple. And the reason that it's there is to teach. I've done other videos where I have proven which ones of these are fake. I've done a video where I can put these two coins in a bubble jet printer, and it's the only coins that will do it is silver maples that have radial lines, and the real one will give you a purple, black, white, weird like hue. I think mainly because of the prism effect of how they make the coin. The fake ones can't do it. There's so many things out there, and how our currency has debased from beautiful coins such as uh, the oh crap, I'm having trouble here. This is the coin I traded with you, the travel coin. The help me out here, Frost. My brain's having a brain fart. The
Trade
one with the
dollar?
drop mark, trade dollar. Thank you. How we went from trade dollars to other dollars that I was able to get, including the reenactment of the flowing hair, which I thank you very much for. How we went from that to the silver certificate, and how people out there will sell you fakes. And I don't label my fakes outside of on the coin, because they're not going out in the real world anyway. But I take them out of the capsule, and I'll lay them on the table, and tell someone I'm trying to teach, find the fake. And when they can't, I'll show them different things. My very first fake, believe it or not, was a 40% fake silver Eisenhower. But it hopped up real fast when I passed a neodymium magnet around it. These are the things that we can do to teach our children and our grandchildren. I don't have every tool available, but I have a Sigma Metalytics, I have a pocket pinger, I have a slide, I have the neodymium magnet. Then you can do scales, and you can use your scale to get the specific gravity to help prove what you do and don't have. And it works pretty well as long as you know the possible basic components of whatever in the coin. I hope one day to have an XRF machine, but those are not cheap. Because why do I want to spend the money on XRF's machine? I like to catch the fakes. I have a great deal of joy doing that. And if you watch this video here, when I go to my pawn shop, coin shop, I had to sell my silver because of the infection. She in there tells everyone that I'm really good at catching fakes. That was not where I started off 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I knew nothing about nothing and got taken advantage of. And now I'm able to catch things to a point when I do take them in to be sold because I have to pay bills because I got an infection. She trusted me. To be honest with you, she put them into her Sigma Metalytics just for the viewers. She's like, I trust you. You don't buy stuff and you catch stuff. After a while, even a non-numismatist can go ahead and find them. I have a video that I'm going to release where I looked at a silver coin that I bought. It was labeled both on the coin. It was a poured coin, but on the coin and on the certificate as 999's fine, and it wasn't. And I'm not going to tell you what it was because I want you to see the video, but how the process was and the multiple different tests that I would do to confirm my suspicions. But as soon as I picked it up, something was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong, but something was wrong. And, someone like Frostbyte, he can pick up a coin and know it be wrong pretty fast. And so can Chavella, who owns her own pawn shop, coin shop. The teaching box is if you love your children and you love your grandchildren, you will want to start doing something like this. Right here, Proverbs 22:6. Let me just show you what that says. I'm not interested in showing you the whole video, but I want to show you the point I'm trying to make across here. The quote at the top is from the proverb. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Something I learned from Frostbyte, because he's not just smart with coins, he's just kind of smart overall. Don't tell him I said that, I'll go to his head. So, but no, honestly, these are the reasons why we need to teach our children. And we need to not only protect our stack, but protect our offspring and our grandchildren. So, did I answer your question there?
No, but that's okay.
What part did I forget?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Hey, so somebody said let's do a chat, a giveaway. If you guys will put stuff in, if you guys are listening and you haven't commented in chat, put something in chat, and I'll do a drawing here in just a minute, and we'll make sure that we give something away. I've got 35 cents. I've got a Walker half and a Merc time that I'll give away. I'll send that out to somebody. So if you're putting something in chat, let me know that you're here. Hopefully we haven't lulled you guys to sleep. I know we have outstanding voices for falling asleep too, but again, put something in chat. Just let me know that you're here. Let's shut that down. There we go. Yeah, I know you're sleeping. I heard it. Well, chat, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Do you guys have any comments regarding the flowing hair? Anything else that we've talked about? Is there anything that you want to bring up? Otherwise, it's 3 a.m. my time, and I'm going to be wrapping stuff up here shortly. I do have another stream that I'm going to be putting out in the morning, so I need to get a couple hours sleep before that hits. Good day, Kevin. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. Right now, silver, Tiger, you probably know this better than I would. What is the silver to gold ratio sitting at right now? 85, 86?
Yeah, it's up there. I'll get it for you right now.
So it's definitely a silver market. So you definitely want to be buying silver.
84.24.
Yeah. So 84 is where the silver to gold ratio, if you don't know what the silver to gold
The
ratio
best
is.
best we had so far this year was 78, um, maybe 76. I think this was outside of the no 73. We have not seen a silver preferenced gold to silver ratio, and I don't think we're going to see that until SHTF hits.
Maybe it really depends on, there's a lot of factors involved, but listening to a couple of the other channels talk the other day, um, it's really not a gold market until silver gets around that kind of 50 to 60 range.
Yeah,
If you get into what they call the golden realm, which is around that 40%, obviously you'd be changing over, 50% of or more of your stack to gold, because then it would be worth it. Because again, if you know, it's kind of like shorting a stock, right? And I'm not a
yeah.
financial expert, but it's just kind of that if your silver ratio, the lower number your silver ratio is, the closer your silver is to gold. So
You know,
the
some
more that
people might say,
increases, the more you want to change from gold to silver. The more it decreases, the more you want to change from silver to gold.
and that's if you want to flip them. You know, me personally, I've only done that once, and it was just because I wanted to. Um, a few months before, I bought a really beautiful 100-ounce silver Britannia
I remember
bar.
that. The thing was gorgeous.
Yeah, beyond gorgeous. And I wanted to buy a Canadian because it's somewhat British and have them like as a married pair in my safe. But I couldn't find one, and then I got mad and went to the pawn shop and decided I wanted this gold buffalo. Now I bought the silver bar at $2,450. I sold it at $3,250, which allowed me to buy the gold buffalo and still have $700 left over to buy constitutional dimes. That's a rarity. I normally don't run into that scenario nor that desire. But I'm a firm believer that if you're going to buy gold, accept the fact of what the premiums are. It is going to go up more steadily and without the volatility of silver. I look at silver as a measure of bartering. I also look at gold as a way of not only wealth preservation, but if you have to use it, it will be a situation that is something that you're going to want it for. Like, I still owe on my house. And if we run into SHTF, I am expecting for housing uh, percentages interest to shoot the moon. I'm sitting at 3%. What if they decide to take it to 15% just because they're trying to rebuild money into the government? Well, I don't want to do that. So I would sell my gold, pay off my house when I get enough to pay off my house, um, and then use my silver for bartering. In the case just recently, because of the infection, I didn't sell my gold. I want that sitting there because that's not showing volatility. That's showing more consistency. And any gold that I would sell now, I have to spend more fiat dollars to get back later. With the silver, I run the chance of the volatility giving me opportunities to buy back a similar amount of weight, approximately the same price at which I sold it for, so that I can, I'm banking on the volatility and the suppression of silver to rebuild my stack when I start getting money back from restarting work just recently. So, those are things that I consider very important. And this is the things that I think all of us need to consider. What was the reason for you to get it? SHTF for most stackers. Numismatists, maybe a little bit SHTF, but you all love the history and the details and the different types of varieties that you know make you go ooh in the night. So you know, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, and UFOs says that if the ratio has to close, then it's easier for gold to come down than it is for silver to go up, and that's fact. And we're seeing the price of gold drop dramatically, but again, the ratio's there. So as gold drops, silver drops. Unfortunately, it's not like platinum, palladium, where it's kind of an inverse, where one drops and the other one gains. Um, so you have to see a greater drop in gold than you do in silver. Now, we talk about the silver gold ratio. Not too long ago, it was like 87, 88%. So it has changed a little bit. But since the election, we've definitely um, seen some changes in prices, right? We've definitely seen a change in that price. But we got a long way to go before
Yes, we
the
did.
silver and gold ratio is even close.
If you
Um,
pull up my screen, I can show it right now off the ST Bullion site. If you look right here, I have lined out November 5, 2024, the date of the election. And notice what happened. It dropped a good amount, just as I had predicted. And um, right now, it's starting to prove that. And it's really weird because it was my first time I ever gave predictions for anything. And it said if Trump gets in, we're going to be between what did I say, $2,400, $2,600, and it's starting to prove me right because he's giving people hope that we're going to start becoming an industrial nation again. If you look at silver, when November 5th would hit, the price came down just as much.
yeah,
And it,
so Great Scott is like silver's moved more than gold. Silver's a little bit more volatile than gold. Um, so you're gonna see more movement in silver than you will gold. But one thing about gold that is very attractive to many is that, hey, broke stacker, what's going on?
hey, bro.
Um, when you look at, do they have the um, the inflation rate, gold in relation to the inflation rate on there?
Let me
I
see
don't
what I can
remember if
see.
they do. But if you look at
Uh,
gold in relation to the inflation rate, you'll see that gold has outpaced the rate of inflation, which is it's one of the few things that has. So in that regard, it's definitely attractive. But taking into account the silver and gold ratio, if you again, if you're interested in playing the silver and gold ratio, it's a matter of volume. It's important to look at things like um, that's a good one right there. When you look at the gold rate, you can see that it's outpacing that. Now, when you look lately, obviously, now and here come the SD Bullion ads. Just click off the content; it should disappear up in the right hand corner. There you go.
oh, here it is.
Yep, hidden. They love to do that. Um,
Yeah.
when you look at that, they don't have a very good color coding chart.
No, they don't.
Um, but when you look at that, you'll see that the silver is below, uh, which is represented in green, I believe, and then inflation is held in the gold, and then the red, I believe, is gold.
No, the red
Red is
is
inflation.
shadow inflation. The green is official inflation, which they obviously are suppressing. And the
And then
gold
the
is
gold
gold.
is gold.
Yeah,
Okay, I had that backwards. So,
that's
but you
okay.
can see that gold is starting to outpace inflation. Now, is that going to stay there? No, it's not. Um, Inflation definitely will catch. It's not been officially stated, but we've been in a recession for years. Unofficially, obviously, because they haven't dropped that. I think they're going to wait for 6 months or a year. Um,
But they said it was transitory.
well, again, remember that um, the media is going to want to make sure they drop in capital letters inflation. Um, yeah, a Yankee said that the other day.
Yeah,
They're
I
going to
say
want
it's the
that
same thing too.
headline, right? And again, it's important to understand this. But here's if you're going to play the silver and gold, um, kind of the spread, that silver gold ratio. Again, it's a gamble. So you want to kind of stay steady and stay firm in the items in which you choose. You'll get different vantage points from the different stackers that you talk to. So it's important that you make up your own mind. And again, Tiger and I, neither one of us are financial advisors. We talk about what we see. We don't necessarily talk about what the best strategies are. We talk about the strategies we implement. We talk about the strategies we hear other of our friends implement. But again, we're not financial advisors. We're not telling you to play the silver gold ratio. We're not telling you to buy silver right now. We're not telling you to buy gold right now. What we're telling you to do is be aware of each of those items and then make educated decisions about them.
Exactly. And I'm to be honest with you, I've only recently woke up. I mean, I'm 62 and I woke up 3 years ago. I'm ashamed of the fact that I didn't put this all together until much later. But if you look at it, our government, fed us the Kool-Aid and we drank it and we believed them. My dad used to tell me that, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And to be honest with you, I thought he was just a grumpy old guy who was mad because he wasn't making the money that he used to make. But like I had mentioned before in the video, I'm going to just bring up to you and show you um, this one right here. I'm not going to open it up, but worsening trends exposed. When I was doing the research to make this video, I was like, oh my goodness, my dad was so right. It talks about the income to house purchasing ratio and what had happened over the years. And that was between the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. It's way worse now. Car income to car purchasing ratio. What prices of gas was, let alone,
Oh, exactly.
security issues. Security issues. I mean, when I was a kid, no one locked their doors. Everybody had looked after each other and respected each other, and no one did anything bad to each other. We respected our elders. We respected police and physicians and ambulance people. We showed them respect, and we had. If you look at the racial things, we were moving away from a splitting of the races. Martin Luther King, what happened in the 70s after the death of Martin Luther King that continued it. Then you have all these people now pushing critical race theory. What they're doing is trying to split us apart. And our government, God help us, um, encourages it. Totally encourages it. I'm gonna bring something up here in a second because I really like for people to see this. Um, Montague Norman, can you bring me back up here? Montague Norman. who was a governor of the Bank of England, who did a lecture in 1924. So this was long after the 2007 uh, crisis, to which the government then said they would take over all the paper money, and then the financiers running off to Jekyll Island, and 3 years later starting the Fed. Now we're past all that, and we're in 1924. This right here. Capital must protect itself in every way, both by combination and legislation. Debts must be collected, mortgages foreclosed on as rapidly as possible. Even through the process of law, the common people lose their homes. They will become more docile and more easily governed through the strong arm of government applied by a central power of wealth under leading financiers. These truths are well known among our principal men, who are now engaged in forming an imperialism to govern the world. By dividing the voter through political party system, we can get them to expend their energies in fighting for questions of no importance. That it is thus by discreet action we can secure for ourselves that which we have planned and so successfully accomplished. That's not conspiracy theory. That's now proven conspiracy, and it still goes on. And they still they have at least our country fighting over stupid stuff that means nothing. Our country became the world reserve currency because we were a powerhouse. We were able to make our own, take care of our own, trade internationally. We had more money before the Feds took over than after the Feds took over. And this right here is one of many examples that proves it. This right here is one of many things we have to teach our children. That's what we're up against. That's what we need to protect ourselves against. Your turn. Are you there?
Yeah, you not hear me?
Okay, now I can.
Oh, okay. And remember, when you were talking about that, that happened in 1924. We remember that there were a couple other things in 1924 that happened when we're talking about the Federal Reserve. Remember that they conducted their first open market operations in 1924, where they would buy securities in the open market and then relend them back to the money market funds. At that same time, George Baker, who was the first national banker of New York, became the first founding donor of the Harvard Business School. So again, it went from taking these people who had created the Fed, who had created this entity of a kind of a internal ownership of all of the monies for the United States, and they started expanding themselves into other lanes of business. And so, what are you doing?
Putting a medicine up my nose because I'm all stuffed up.
Push mute.
I'm done. I'm done.
But again,
It's
so
Great Scott's fault. Blame him.
what you're seeing in 1924 is you're seeing an expanding of this small group of people, this small group of bankers who had established the Fed in 1913, 11, 12 years later, embedding themselves into further business. So this became not only just an internal small banking strategy, but this was moving into Harvard School of Business. This was moving into Yale. This was moving into some of these other Ivy League schools. Uh, Again, we were talking about across the pond. We're talking about these things also happening in Cambridge. So again, you were seeing a large kind of shift starting in 1925, where there's an expansion of the stuff that happened. Later on, you would also come to see that there was this thing called the equalization of the bank treatment, where Congress passed something called the McFadden Act. If you're not familiar with the McFadden Act, it equalized branching across national and state banks, which allowed national banks to be located within the cities where the state banks provided the similar actions, meaning that the power control, the power center was no longer focused in the one area. Now it was being spread throughout the U.S. So there were a number of things that were happening at this time. And this is one of the primary leaders, the primary people saying, we have a massive problem in our system. And the system was just starting. So what Tiger just shared with you is extremely important at understanding the historical prevalence of the kind of the breakout, because this was the first few founding years, the few founding members, so to speak, because of the Federal Reserve Act that happened, which I call the worst Christmas gift the United States ever received, because it was finalized Christmas Eve. But again, a lot of things happened 1924, 25, 28, 29. We're 29, obviously, after the Fed had 16 years worth of their little playground, the market crashed. And we obviously know that as Black Monday. And on Black Monday, October 29th, October 28th, 1929, the stock market declined 89% over 3 years. We had the worst of many of these situations happen within our society. So, again, what he's talking about here capitulated the fact that just years after the fact, somebody had already said we're in a serious problem, foreshadowing his understanding that we were going to end up with this special issue. All right, Mom, thanks for being here. I appreciate you listening.
Thanks, Mom.
Great, Scott. I just got done watching The Big Short again. Oh, The Big Short's a great one. Again, there's more things like this that talk about that. But again, if you really want to know about the history, if you guys are really interested in history, you want to know more about kind of the history of things like the Banking Association, or if you want to learn more about the things that happened stemming from 1913 down all the way into that first Great Depression, leading into 1973, which led into the 1974 through 76 price hikes and inflation and gas prices and all the crazy crap that happened there. And then again, we had another one happen in 2008, and then a minor one in 2012. So again, we can talk about the history of that. If that's something that you guys are interested in doing, Tiger and I can put one together and talk about that. I've got a lot of information already on that. But him and I can put this together and we can break down some of the things that he shared. Because again, this wasn't just a U.S. thing. People across the world were seeing what the U.S. was doing, seeing what was happening overseas and going, wait. This is a recipe for disaster. We need to stop before we jeopardize and put ourselves into the situation that we're in right now. So very, very smart people saw this coming many, many years ago. So I got another subscriber. It doesn't show up on my sheet who it is, but thank you so much for subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. So
if you bring me down, I can take this and maybe switch it over to something else. Thank you.
So, but if you guys are interested in that, let us know. Put something in chat or put something down in the comments afterwards. Let us know that you're interested in doing that. Again, we like putting out content. I don't mind going live anytime and talking about the situations and what's going on. And, you know, I have 1,000 things that I can talk about, but I'm really interested in wanting to know what you guys want to hear more about. If there's something in history that you guys find fascinating and you want to know more about it, reach out to us and let us know. Because that's definitely something I'm interested in. And I know Tiger is too. But I've got to do a wheel, and then my butt is going to bed because I've got to be up and go live in about 5 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to finish packing, and then I'm going to get ready to go from my one hospital to the next one. But I'm going to go visit Ringmaster Ray, maybe have some lunch Maybe go to a coin shop. It'll be the highlight of my day because driving in New Mexico is boring.
Oh, just like
Flat,
driving
flat,
in
and flat.
West Texas. It's the same thing. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pull this up. All right. I should have put a giant rigged wheel in the middle of it. Hold on. Just a second. Let me do this. Add center image. Upload image. Move that out of the way. That's all the tiger stuff. There we go. Yes, there we go. It's rigged. Oh, too much fun. All right, this is actually so for you guys know the rig not rigged. Make sure you guys are putting something in the chat if you're coming in. You want to get on this wheel, please. I'll give you guys 60 seconds. Put something in chat. Make sure that you are listed. But if you guys don't know the rigged banter that goes back and forth between Tiger and Yankee Stacker, make sure that you go check that out. I am, a lot of people don't know this, but I am actually, hey, Darren Gray, let me put you in here. A lot of people don't know that I'm actually Professor Rick DeBordis. So if you guys didn't know that, well, hello, Yankee. I can't do it right now because my voice is a little hoarse.
Dude, Clark Kent never gives away his secret, dude.
What secret?
That's my point.
Nobody knows I'm Frostbyte. Yeah, lots of fun. So, all right, folks, I'll give you guys just a few more seconds. Do me a favor again. If you're here and you're watching, put something in the chat. I've only got 11 entries. I know there's more people in here. Tiger is not in here, by the way. He is in here.
I am in here. I'm typing. That doesn't. Well, only thing I see in here is Nightbot. I must be doing something wrong.
You only see what in Nightbot? Oh,
in the chat, I will see Nightbot.
Oh, you can't see chat because you're not looking at the other. You're looking only inside here. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and run this. We're going to go to the last man or last woman standing. So we're not going to choose the first one just because I can. Broke, you are in here already. So you're located right there at the top. Kevin, thanks so much for coming in. Definitely appreciate you being here. Let's see who's next. I think this will just be fun. UFOs, no joke. Oh, just sneaks out. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream. All right, let's see who's next. It looks like it's going to be great, Scott. All right, bud. Well, as always, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much, my Oklahoma brother.
Believe it or not, I got chat back. I see other people.
You see other people?
Yeah.
Who?
I see dead people. No, I actually see other people in the chat. Great Scott and Daryl and Broke.
Oh, did you go to the YouTube side?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the way you have to do it. Oh, my mom, she already left, so she doesn't know she didn't win anything, but it's okay. She'd send it back to me anyway. Ooh, Tiger's gonna go bye-bye. See you later, brother. You didn't make it. No doubling the wheel here.
No, I'd make you give it to someone else anyway.
But what about Dave? What do you mean? Oh, did I already miss calling you out, Dave? Because you were there. Bye, Daryl and his other brother.
Daryl, and Larry.
This is Daryl, my other brother, Daryl. All right, Darren Gray, thanks you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. We're down to 3 people. Darren, Broke Stacker, or Michael Wells. Who's it going to be? I'm tired. I'm running out of steam. All right, Michael Wells, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. All right, let's see. We're going to go ahead and double these up. All right. Who's the first runner-up? All right, Broke, you're out of here. Thanks, Broke. I appreciate you. All right, Darren Ottman is the winner. All right, Darren. Congratulations. Do me a favor. Send me an email. You can do exclamation point email. Send me an email. Let me know that you win 2 silver classics. Okay, and I'll send those out to you. It is a Walker and a Merc dime. So I'll get those in the mail. Make sure you include, hey, Thomas, what's up? Good to see you, brother. You got here just a little late. So send me an email, claim that. Make sure you include your address. And then I will get this out to you. And I'll send you channel stickers. I've got a couple different channel stickers. I actually like this one. I think this is going to be my standard moving forward. Oh, you can't see that. I don't have my camera on. Let me turn my camera back on. There's that one, which is pretty cool. I like that one.
I like the other one with the big nose.
That's not a channel sticker. There's that one that's going to come to you, and then I've got another one, but I can't reach it because it's stuck in the corner. So I'll make sure that that goes out, and then I'll put it in a thank you card. So I appreciate you guys being here. If there is anybody who wants a channel sticker, you can email me again, exclamation point email. Let me know if you've already got one. Let me know which one you don't have. I'll show you the 3 of them, and then you can choose. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for so much for coming in and hanging out with us. Again, if you want to know about the gold privy and you wanted to come in for that portion, you missed that at the very beginning, just go back and watch about the first 45, 50 minutes, and you'll see all that information there. All right, folks. Well, hey, Tiger, thanks so much for coming up and hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
Of course. But I'm going to go try and get, hey, Canes, what's going on? Great time to get here. We're leaving. So we're going to wind it down. I'm going to get some Z's, and then I will be back up. You'll see the stream drop here in just a few moments. So we're going to be talking about a couple different things. I don't want to drop too much, but we'll talk about it here in a little while. So if you can be there, be there. If not, then I've been looking for a while. Well, you should have put your name in. You could have been on the drawing. But anyway, we'll see in about 5 hours. And again, if you're around on Sunday morning, we'll be streaming Sunday morning as well. So make sure you're there. If you haven't already done so, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment. If you want to see something specific from Tiger and I, let us know. And then we'll be putting them out some stacking and collecting based commentary here in a little while. Anything you want to say before we go, Tiger?
Oh, no, just take care of yourselves. Make sure you stack not only the gold and the silver, but the water and the food. You make sure you got a good home that's stable for the family. You know, we got to stick together as long as the internet will allow us to have this community. But in the meantime, try to get your local neighbors to come on board. You know, so you'll have a local community that supports each other as well. And, you know, just, you know, let's stay in touch because we're going to need each other.
All right, folks. Again, 8:30 tomorrow, 8:30, 5 hours from now, we'll be dropping another live stream talking about some really cool numismatic pieces. I'll have Paul and Eric up. Come see that. If not, then Sunday morning. All right. All right, guys. Be best. Try that again. Be well. Be blessed. And I will see you guys in the streams. Take care.
Night,
Love
everyone.
You. Bye.